Can a country's Bitcoin adoption give it an advantage in the global financial chess game? When you look at how the United States has positioned itself in the Bitcoin ecosystem, the answer might surprise you. Luke Gromen, a macro strategist known for predicting major economic shifts, joins the TFTC podcast to break down this fascinating dynamic. In today's discussion, we'll examine 3 central points: how U.S. citizens have become the world's leading Bitcoin adopters per capita, why American companies dominate Bitcoin's infrastructure, and how this positions the U.S. for potential economic transitions. Before we continue, if you enjoy these breakdowns, hit the like and subscribe button for more TFTC content. Full episode linked below. As we explore these insights, you'll discover why the final point about economic protection could be crucial for understanding America's future monetary strategy. Let's start by examining how U.S. citizens have positioned themselves as global leaders in Bitcoin adoption.
Every indication from Trump, I think he gets it. I mean, he's explicitly said the price of Bitcoin will be a KPI of his administration. And I think maybe not him, but at least people surrounding him in this new administration have to recognize that individual holders of Bitcoin per capita are, U.S. is winning that KPI. And
oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe it was the case at some point in the last 5 years. I imagine it still is, but just think about the amount of companies started here, and I think the U.S. for the first 16 years, U.S. citizens have participated pretty materially in Bitcoin and accumulating it and its appreciation. And if you were to do something overnight, like the collateral damage would not be as bad if as many Americans didn't own as much Bitcoin as we did. So you could totally see it playing out. And
yeah, you could see. I mean, yeah, there's been signals. I think even when Putin says no one can stop Bitcoin, I took that as a signal of sorts, right? Of like, hey, like we'll be all right with that.
And how much time are we going to waste just not recognizing the elephant in the room, confronting the problem? Like I can't wait for the sigh of relief when his Band-Aid's ripped off. Everything happens. It's like, all right, we've confronted the boogeyman, recognize that this was not sustainable. Now we're going to move on.
What I'm discussing here is a remarkable development that has unfolded over Bitcoin's 16-year history. The United States, despite lacking any official government stance on Bitcoin for many years, has emerged as the global leader in Bitcoin adoption on a per-person basis. This isn't just about wealthy individuals or institutions. It's about everyday Americans who recognized Bitcoin's potential early and chose to participate. This widespread grassroots adoption has created a unique strategic advantage for the United States that goes beyond simple investment returns. Think about it. When a significant portion of citizens already hold this asset, it creates a natural alignment of interests between the government and its people. This alignment becomes particularly valuable when considering potential monetary system changes or economic transitions. What's fascinating is that Trump's team appears to recognize this advantage, making Bitcoin's price a key performance indicator for his administration. This signals a profound shift from viewing Bitcoin as a fringe technology to seeing it as a strategic asset that could benefit both the government and its citizens. This first argument about per capita adoption sets the foundation for understanding America's unique position in the Bitcoin ecosystem. The second piece of this puzzle, which we'll explore next, reveals how American companies have built the vital infrastructure that powers Bitcoin's growth. And stick around for our final segment, where we'll see how these advantages could protect Americans during major economic changes.
It feels like we're closer. You're seeing real world conversations about that. And, it's interesting. The one thing, about doing it via Bitcoin is that it would be much more, in my opinion, a lot of times Bitcoin gets dinged for, look at the distribution of holdings and what have you, whatever. But a lot of sort of legacy institutions can't hold it because the vol is so great, right? The volatility is so high, they simply can't hold it, which separate discussion. But it's point being that there's a lot more individuals. It would be a really much better, it would recap more individual balance sheets per capita than simply, hey, you revalued it and a bunch of, Wall Street asset holders got rich on it. I don't think that's the case with Bitcoin, right?
This clip illuminates a crucial aspect of Bitcoin's development that often gets overlooked in mainstream discussions. While much of the conversation around Bitcoin focuses on price volatility and institutional adoption, there's a more fundamental shift happening at the individual level. Traditional financial institutions have been hesitant to hold Bitcoin directly because of its price volatility. It's simply too unpredictable for their risk management systems. But this hesitation has had an unexpected benefit. It's pushed Bitcoin ownership toward individual holders rather than large institutions. This distribution pattern significantly differs from traditional financial assets, where institutional investors often dominate ownership.
Sup freaks, this rip of TFTC was brought to you by our good friends at BitKey. BitKey makes Bitcoin easy to use and hard to lose. It's the easiest 0 to 1 step, your first step to self-custody. If you have friends and family on the exchanges who haven't moved it off, tell them to pick up a BitKey. Go to bitkey.world, use the key TFTC20 at checkout for 20% off your order. That's bitkey.world, code TFTC20.
The interesting part about this is how it aligns with America's entrepreneurial spirit and individual empowerment. At 1031, we see this dynamic playing out daily as we invest in companies building on Bitcoin. They're not just creating businesses, they're building infrastructure that makes it easier for individuals to participate in this new economic system. This infrastructure development, combined with widespread individual adoption, creates a robust foundation for America's Bitcoin advantage. We've now seen how American citizens lead in adoption and how U.S. companies have built crucial infrastructure. But stay tuned for our final segment where we'll explore perhaps the most important aspect, how these advantages could protect Americans during major economic transitions. Let's examine how proper integration of Bitcoin into the traditional financial system could create a powerful economic safety net for Americans.
Yeah, there's like Bitcoin, I think, can absolutely play a role a number of different ways, right? I mean, you can do it with a Bitcoin sweetener. You can do it with gold too, but right, like if, one way to lower treasury costs, look, you offer a 2% yielding 30-year treasury with, of the $1,000 face, $50 worth of Bitcoin valued where it is today, $100 worth of Bitcoin valued where it is today, $50 or $100 worth of gold valued where it is today. I might buy that bond, right? You could do something like that, or that's a more subtle way of doing what we talked about before, which is just revalue the gold and buy back a block of treasuries. But yeah, you're absolutely seeing it in the private sector, and ultimately, I think it's a very free market way of doing it, right? Ultimately, the people that own a lot of Bitcoin today, I think, are going to be rewarded for that over the next 2 to 3 years, probably pretty handsomely.
What's being discussed here represents the culmination of America's Bitcoin advantages and how they could protect citizens during economic transitions. The conversation touches on a sophisticated evolution of Bitcoin integration, not just as a speculative asset, but as a fundamental part of the financial system. We've seen what happens when crypto companies operate without proper safeguards. BlockFi, Celsius, and FTX serve as stark reminders of what can go wrong. But the vision being presented here is fundamentally different. It's about creating a framework where traditional financial institutions can safely hold Bitcoin for customers while maintaining proper risk management. This isn't just about trading or speculation. It's about building a bridge between the traditional financial system and Bitcoin in a way that benefits everyone involved. What makes this particularly significant is how it combines the previous two advantages we discussed, widespread individual adoption and robust infrastructure, to create a potential economic safety net for Americans. If banks can properly integrate Bitcoin into their services, it provides a way for even more Americans to safely participate in this new asset class without taking on unnecessary risks. This creates a form of economic protection not through government intervention, but through proper market structure and risk management. The key here is that Bitcoin isn't being treated as just another trading vehicle, but as a fundamental part of the financial system's evolution. When you combine America's leading position in per capita Bitcoin ownership, its dominant infrastructure, and this emerging institutional framework, you begin to see how the United States has positioned itself uniquely well for whatever economic changes might come in the future. This comprehensive advantage, from individual adoption to infrastructure to institutional integration, creates a robust foundation that could help minimize economic disruption during any future monetary transitions. Let me know in the comments if you think Bitcoin will play a bigger role than gold in the coming monetary reset. I read every single one. And if you found America's Bitcoin advantage interesting, you'll want to watch how Trump's new Treasury Secretary views gold repricing. Click the video on your screen now. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily content. Thanks for watching. Stay humble, stack sats.